My dear students, welcome back to our channel. Students, in this video I am explaining Bachelor of Education, i.e. B.Ed first semester. Subject content cum Pedagogy of Biological Sciences. Important short and long questions and answers. Let's start quick revision. First important short question is: what is the importance of scientific knowledge? Scientific knowledge is important because it helps us understand how the world works and makes life better. It allows us to find solutions to problems, improve health, and create new technologies. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, scientific knowledge helped scientists develop vaccines that saved millions of lives. In everyday life, science improves our comfort and safety. It gives us inventions like smartphones, computers, and clean drinking water, which make our lives easier. Science also helps in farming, making crops grow better and protecting them from pests. In India, scientific knowledge is also essential for solving problems like pollution and water scarcity. By understanding science, we can develop better ways to protect the environment and improve our quality of life. So, science plays a big role in the progress of society, both in India and around the world. Next important short question is: what is the role of pedagogy in effective learning? Pedagogy refers to the methods and strategies used by teachers to help students learn better. It focuses on how teachers teach, rather than just what they teach. The role of pedagogy in effective learning is to make the learning process more interesting and easy to understand for students. For example, if a teacher uses activities like group discussions, games, or real-life examples to explain a subject, it becomes easier for students to understand and remember the concepts. This makes learning more interactive and fun. In India, where students come from diverse backgrounds, pedagogy helps cater to different learning needs. For instance, using visuals, videos, or local examples can make complex topics simpler and more relatable. Good pedagogy also encourages students to think critically, ask questions, and apply what they've learned in everyday life. So, effective pedagogy helps students learn better and stay motivated. Next important short question is: write a brief note on emotional growth of secondary stage learners. Emotional growth during the secondary stage, ages 12 to 16, is a key part of a student's development. At this stage, learners experience many changes in their feelings, thoughts, and behavior. They start to understand and express their emotions better. For example, a 14-year-old may feel more independent and want to make their own decisions, but may also experience mood swings and feel unsure about certain situations. Students begin to form stronger friendships and relationships, and may face challenges like peer pressure or dealing with success and failure. Teachers and parents play an important role in helping students manage these emotions, offering support when needed. For instance, if a student faces a difficult exam and feels anxious, emotional growth helps them learn how to deal with stress and stay calm. Encouraging healthy conversations and creating a safe environment helps students understand and cope with their emotions, making them more confident and better at handling different situations. Next important short question is: explain academic standards for biological science. Academic standards for biological science define the knowledge and skills students should have at different stages of learning. These standards help ensure that students understand key concepts in biology and can apply them in real life. For example, in secondary school, students are expected to learn about basic biology topics like the human body, plants, animals, and ecosystems. They should know how living things grow, reproduce, and interact with their environment. They also learn about cells, genetics, and how diseases spread. An important part of biological science is experiments. Students must develop skills like observing, measuring, and recording data. For instance, they may do an experiment to see how plants grow in different conditions, which helps them understand scientific methods. These standards guide teachers to make sure all students learn the important facts and develop critical thinking skills, helping them understand the living world around them. Next important short question is: explain analytical pedagogy in learning concepts in biological science. Analytical pedagogy in learning biological science focuses on helping students think deeply and critically about concepts. Instead of just memorizing facts, students are encouraged to analyze, understand, and apply their knowledge. For example, when studying photosynthesis, analytical pedagogy would encourage students to not only learn the steps but also to ask questions like, why is sunlight important for plants? Or what would happen if plants didn't have enough sunlight? This helps students understand the why and how behind scientific processes, making learning more meaningful. Teachers use activities like group discussions, problem-solving tasks, and real-life examples to encourage this type of thinking. In India, this could involve analyzing local ecosystems or studying how changes in the environment affect plant and animal life. By focusing on analysis and reasoning, students develop a deeper understanding of biological science and can apply their learning to real-world situations. Next important short question is: what are concept maps? Give an example. Concept maps are visual tools that help organize and show relationships between ideas or concepts. They use bubbles or boxes to represent concepts and lines or arrows to connect them, showing how they are linked. This makes it easier to understand complex topics by breaking them down into smaller, connected parts. For example, when studying the human respiratory system, a concept map might have respiratory system in the center. From there, lines can connect to related concepts like lungs, breathing, and oxygen. Then, under lungs, you could add more details like alveoli and gas exchange. Using concept maps helps students organize information, see how different ideas fit together, and remember important facts. In India, concept maps can be used in subjects like biology, where students can map out processes like photosynthesis or digestion, making learning easier and more interactive. Next important short question is: explain science as an aesthetic experience. Science as an aesthetic experience means appreciating the beauty and wonder of the natural world through science. It's not just about facts and experiments, but also about feeling amazed by how everything works in nature. For example, when you look at a butterfly's wings, you might wonder how the colors are created or how it flies. This curiosity is part of the aesthetic experience of science. The way the stars shine in the sky or the way plants grow can also inspire a sense of beauty and awe. In India, students can experience the beauty of science by observing the diversity of nature, like the colors of flowers or the patterns in animal behavior. It helps students connect emotionally with the subject and develop a deeper love for learning. Science becomes more than just studying facts. It becomes an experience that enriches our understanding and appreciation of the world around us. Next important short question is: what do you mean by culturally responsive pedagogy? Culturally responsive pedagogy is a teaching approach that recognizes and respects the different cultural backgrounds of students. It involves creating a learning environment that values diversity and incorporates students' cultures into the lessons. For example, in an Indian classroom, a teacher might include stories, examples, or practices from various cultures like Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, and others to make lessons more relevant and relatable. When teaching history, a teacher may discuss India's rich history, including different cultures, festivals, and traditions, making students feel connected to the content. This approach helps students feel valued and respected, improving their engagement and learning. It also encourages students to appreciate cultural differences and develop a broader worldview. By using culturally responsive pedagogy, teachers ensure that every student's background is acknowledged, making learning more inclusive and meaningful for all. Next important long questions. First important long question is: mention one ancient and one modern scientist and write their contributions to biological sciences. Ancient scientist Aristotle, 384 to 322 BCE. Aristotle was a Greek philosopher and is often considered one of the earliest contributors to biological science. He is known for his work in classifying animals and plants, making him one of the first to study living organisms scientifically. Aristotle observed and documented various species of animals and categorized them based on their characteristics. For example, he divided animals into two groups, those with blood, like mammals and birds, and those without blood, like insects and fish. He also studied the development of embryos and even made important observations about animal behavior. Though many of his ideas were later updated, Aristotle's work laid the foundation for the study of biology, especially in understanding the structure and classification of living organisms. Modern scientist Charles Darwin, 1809 to 1882. Charles Darwin, an English naturalist, is famous for his groundbreaking theory of evolution by natural selection. In 1859, he published his book on the origin of species, which changed the way we understand life on Earth. Darwin's most important contribution was his theory that all species evolve over time through a process of natural selection. He proposed that organisms with traits better suited to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce. Over many generations, these traits become more common in the population. For example, Darwin studied finches on the Galapagos Islands. He noticed that the beaks of these birds varied depending on the type of food available on each island. This led him to conclude that species adapt to their environment over time, which is a key idea in biology today. His work on evolution has had a profound impact on fields like genetics, ecology, and medicine, helping scientists understand how life changes and adapts. In summary, Aristotle's classification of animals laid the early foundation for biology, while Darwin's theory of evolution explained how living organisms evolve and adapt over time. Both scientists have contributed greatly to our understanding of the natural world. Next important long question is: discuss pedagogical approaches to biological sciences. Pedagogical approaches in biological sciences refer to the teaching methods and strategies used by teachers to help students understand and learn biology effectively. These approaches aim to make learning engaging, meaningful, and easy to understand. Below are some common pedagogical approaches used in teaching biology. 1. Inquiry-based learning. This approach encourages students to ask questions, explore, and find answers themselves. It helps develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills. For example, in a lesson on photosynthesis, a teacher might ask students, what do plants need to make food, and guide them through experiments or observations to discover the answer, rather than just telling them. This method helps students understand the process by exploring it actively. 2. Project-based learning. In this approach, students work on projects that require them to apply biological concepts to real-world problems. For example, students might work on a project to study local plant species or create a model of the human digestive system. This helps students connect their learning to practical situations and encourages teamwork and creativity. 3. Concept mapping. Concept maps are visual tools that help organize and show the relationships between different biological concepts. For example, in a unit on ecosystems, students can create a concept map showing how producers, consumers, and decomposers interact. This helps students understand the bigger picture by linking various concepts together. 4. Experiential learning. Experiential learning involves learning through hands-on activities and experiences. For example, students might observe plants growing in different conditions or use microscopes to study cells. This approach makes learning more interactive and helps students grasp biological concepts through direct experience. 5. Collaborative learning. In this approach, students work together in groups to learn and solve problems. For example, students can work together to dissect a flower, learn about its structure, and discuss how each part functions in the process of reproduction. Collaborative learning encourages discussion, teamwork, and sharing of ideas. 6. Differentiated instruction. Different students have different learning needs. Teachers use this approach to tailor their lessons to students' learning styles, such as visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. For example, a teacher might use videos for visual learners, discussions for auditory learners, and hands-on experiments for kinesthetic learners. In summary, these pedagogical approaches in biology help make learning more engaging and meaningful. By using methods like inquiry-based learning, project-based learning, and hands-on activities, teachers can help students understand biological concepts better and apply them to real-life situations. Next important long question is: describe Lee Shulman's 7 categories of teachers' knowledge base to promote understanding among its students. Lee Shulman, an American educational psychologist, proposed 7 categories of a teacher's knowledge base to help promote effective teaching and enhance students' understanding. These categories guide teachers in organizing their knowledge and skills to improve the learning experience. Here are the 7 categories, explained with examples. 1. Content knowledge. Content knowledge refers to a teacher's understanding of the subject they are teaching. For example, in biology, a teacher should deeply understand concepts like photosynthesis, the human digestive system, and ecosystems. Without strong content knowledge, a teacher may struggle to explain these ideas clearly to students. 2. Pedagogical knowledge. This refers to the methods and strategies teachers use to teach effectively. For instance, a teacher might use a combination of lectures, group activities, and hands-on experiments to help students understand biology concepts. Pedagogical knowledge helps teachers deliver content in a way that engages students. 3. Pedagogical content knowledge, PCK. PCK is the ability to combine content knowledge with teaching methods. For example, while teaching the process of cell division, a teacher may use diagrams, models, and interactive activities to make complex ideas easier to understand. PCK allows teachers to transform difficult content into something that students can grasp. 4. Curricular knowledge. Curricular knowledge involves understanding the curriculum or syllabus and how it is organized. For example, a biology teacher must be aware of the topics covered in the curriculum, such as genetics, ecology, or human anatomy. This helps teachers plan their lessons effectively and ensure they cover all necessary topics. 5. Knowledge of learners. Teachers need to understand their students' learning styles, abilities, and needs. For instance, if some students are struggling with a topic, the teacher might provide additional resources or use simpler examples to help them understand. Knowing the students helps teachers adapt their teaching to different learning levels. 6. Knowledge of educational context. This refers to understanding the educational environment, such as the school's resources, the community, and the students' backgrounds. A teacher in a rural Indian school might use local examples, such as crops grown in the area, to explain biology concepts, making the lesson more relevant to students' lives. 7. Knowledge of educational philosophy. This involves understanding the broader goals and principles of education. Teachers need to know why they teach certain subjects and how their teaching aligns with educational values like promoting critical thinking or fostering creativity. For example, a teacher might focus on encouraging curiosity in students to explore biological concepts beyond the textbook. In summary, Lee Shulman's 7 categories highlight the importance of a well-rounded knowledge base for teachers. By combining content knowledge, teaching methods, and an understanding of students and the educational context, teachers can improve their effectiveness and help students understand complex subjects better. Next important long question is: explain the characteristics of secondary stage learners and also write about the conflicts and challenges faced by the learners. Characteristics of secondary stage learners. Secondary stage learners, ages 12 to 16, go through important changes in their physical, emotional, and cognitive development. Here are some key characteristics of learners at this stage. 1. Physical changes. This is the stage of puberty, where students undergo physical changes like growth spurts, changes in voice, and development of secondary sexual characteristics. These changes often lead to increased self-awareness and sometimes insecurity. 2. Cognitive development. Secondary learners begin to think more logically and abstractly. They are able to understand complex ideas and concepts. For example, a 13-year-old can better understand subjects like algebra or the scientific method in biology. 3. Social development. During this period, peer relationships become more important. Friendships and group dynamics greatly influence a learner's emotional and social development. They often seek independence from parents and caregivers, wanting more freedom and responsibility. 4. Emotional changes. Adolescents experience intense emotions and may struggle to manage them. They can feel very happy one moment and upset the next. This emotional turbulence is common as they begin to form their identity. 5. Identity exploration. Secondary learners start exploring who they are, including their personal values, goals, and interests. They may question societal norms, traditions, and family expectations. Conflicts and challenges faced by secondary learners. While the secondary stage offers opportunities for growth, learners also face several challenges and conflicts. 1. Peer pressure. Peer pressure becomes stronger during adolescence. Students might feel forced to fit in, which can lead to risky behaviors, such as smoking or skipping school. For example, a student may feel pressured to wear certain clothes or follow specific trends just to be accepted by their friends. 2. Academic stress. Secondary learners often face pressure to perform well in school. With exams, assignments, and the fear of future career choices, many students feel stressed and anxious. For instance, students preparing for board exams might experience a lot of pressure to succeed. 3. Emotional turmoil. Due to the emotional changes during puberty, adolescents often struggle with mood swings. They may feel misunderstood or face difficulties in expressing their feelings, which can sometimes lead to frustration. 4. Family conflicts. As students seek more independence, they may have conflicts with parents or family members who are still trying to guide and control them. This can create tension in the home environment. 5. Self-esteem issues. Adolescents often worry about their appearance or how others perceive them. These concerns can affect their confidence, making them hesitant to participate in activities or social interactions. In conclusion, while secondary learners experience significant growth and development, they also face various challenges, both academically and emotionally. Understanding these challenges and providing support can help them navigate this critical stage of life successfully. Next important long question is: discuss about the aims of teaching social sciences at secondary stage. The aims of teaching social sciences at the secondary stage, ages 12 to 16, are to help students understand the world around them, develop critical thinking skills, and become responsible citizens. Social sciences include subjects like history, geography, political science, and economics, and they provide students with knowledge about society, culture, and the environment. Here are some key aims. 1. Understanding society and culture. The primary aim of teaching social sciences is to help students understand different aspects of society and culture. For example, history lessons help students learn about the past, including significant events, leaders, and social movements. Understanding historical events like India's struggle for independence can help students appreciate their country's heritage. 2. Developing critical thinking skills. Social science subjects encourage students to think critically. For example, while studying geography, students may analyze the impact of climate change on different regions. Instead of just memorizing facts, they are encouraged to question and think about how events or conditions affect people and communities. 3. Promoting awareness of current affairs. Teaching social sciences helps students stay informed about what's happening in the world around them. For instance, economics lessons can help students understand issues like inflation, unemployment, or the importance of budgeting. Political science lessons can explain how elections work and the role of democracy in India. 4. Encouraging civic responsibility. An important aim is to prepare students to be active and responsible citizens. By studying the Constitution of India, political science, and human rights, students learn about their rights and duties as citizens. This encourages them to participate in social and political activities like voting or community service as responsible members of society. 5. Promoting global understanding. Social sciences teach students about different countries, cultures, and global issues. For example, studying world geography or international relations helps students appreciate diversity and understand global challenges such as poverty or climate change. This prepares students to live in an interconnected world. 6. Developing problem-solving skills. Social science subjects often present real-world problems, encouraging students to think about solutions. For example, students might explore ways to reduce pollution or improve access to education in rural areas. This helps develop problem-solving and decision-making skills. In conclusion, the aims of teaching social sciences at the secondary stage are not only to impart knowledge but also to develop critical, responsible, and active citizens who understand the world around them and can contribute positively to society. Next important long question is: state the differences between learning objectives and learning outcomes. Explain about developing these among the secondary school students. Differences between learning objectives and learning outcomes. Learning objectives and learning outcomes are both important for planning lessons, but they have different meanings. 1. Learning objectives. Learning objectives are the goals that a teacher sets for what students should learn during a lesson or course. They describe what the teacher wants the students to achieve and focus on the teacher's perspective. Learning objectives are written before the lesson and guide the teacher in planning the content and activities. Example: in a biology class about the human circulatory system, a learning objective might be: students will be able to describe the structure and function of the heart. This tells the teacher what they plan to teach and what the students should learn. 2. Learning outcomes. Learning outcomes are the specific skills or knowledge that students actually demonstrate after the lesson or course. They are focused on the students' achievements and are measured after the lesson. Learning outcomes show whether the objectives were achieved. Example: after the lesson on the circulatory system, a learning outcome might be: students will be able to draw and label the human heart and explain how blood flows through it. This shows what the students can do as a result of the lesson. Developing learning objectives and outcomes in secondary school students. 1. Developing learning objectives. When developing learning objectives, teachers should keep in mind what they want their students to learn in a specific lesson or unit. For secondary school students, the objectives should be clear, specific, and achievable. They should focus on both the content, what to learn, and the skills, how to apply it. For example, in a social science lesson on the Indian independence movement, the objective could be: students will be able to explain the causes of the Indian independence movement. 2. Developing learning outcomes. Learning outcomes should be measurable and focused on what students can demonstrate after the lesson. Teachers can use activities like quizzes, presentations, or group discussions to assess if students have achieved the outcomes. For example, after learning about the causes of the Indian independence movement, an outcome could be: students will be able to write an essay on the role of leaders like Gandhi and Nehru in the independence movement. In conclusion, learning objectives guide what the teacher plans to teach, while learning outcomes show what the students have learned. Both are important for effective teaching and measuring student progress. Next important long question is: explain about the concept, steps of problem-solving method, and also write merits and demerits of this method. Concept of the problem-solving method. The problem-solving method is a teaching approach where students learn by identifying, analyzing, and solving real-life problems. This method encourages students to think critically, apply their knowledge, and work collaboratively to find solutions. It helps students become independent thinkers and prepares them to face challenges in everyday life. Steps of the problem-solving method. 1. Identifying the problem. The first step is to clearly understand the problem. For example, if a teacher is discussing pollution, the problem could be: how can we reduce air pollution in our city? 2. Analyzing the problem. Students analyze the problem by gathering information and identifying the causes and effects. For example, students might research the sources of pollution, like vehicles and factories, and how it affects health and the environment. 3. Generating possible solutions. Next, students brainstorm different ways to solve the problem. In the pollution example, Solutions might include using cleaner energy sources, reducing waste, or promoting public transport. 4. Evaluating solutions. After generating solutions, students evaluate them based on factors like effectiveness, cost, and impact. For example, using public transport might be effective, but it may require changes in infrastructure. 5. Choosing the best solution. Students select the most suitable solution based on their evaluation. They might choose to promote the use of electric vehicles and create awareness campaigns. 6. Implementing the solution. Students then come up with a plan to put the solution into action. They could design a campaign to educate people about reducing pollution or start a project to plant more trees. 7. Reviewing and reflecting. Finally, students review the results and reflect on whether the solution worked. They can discuss what went well and what could be improved. Merits of the problem-solving method. 1. Develops critical thinking. Students learn to think logically and critically when solving problems. Example, in a math lesson, students may solve a complex word problem by breaking it into smaller parts. 2. Encourages active learning. Students actively engage in the learning process, which improves understanding. Example, in science, students might solve problems related to energy conservation by conducting experiments. 3. Real-life application. This method helps students connect classroom learning with real-world issues. Example, solving environmental problems like pollution teaches students how to apply their knowledge practically. Demerits of the problem-solving method. 1. Time-consuming. The process of problem-solving can take more time compared to traditional methods. Example, analyzing and solving a problem in depth can take several lessons. 2. Requires high-level thinking. Some students may struggle with complex problems and need extra support. Example, a student who has difficulty in understanding complex concepts might find it challenging to generate solutions. 3. Limited by resources. The method often requires access to various resources like books, technology, or experts, which may not always be available in every classroom. In conclusion, the problem-solving method encourages critical thinking and helps students apply knowledge to real-life situations, but it may require more time and resources to be effective. Next important long question is, how will you create positive learning environment? Explain with suitable example. Creating a positive learning environment is essential for helping students feel comfortable, motivated, and engaged in their learning. A positive environment encourages students to participate, express themselves, and enjoy the learning process. Here's how you can create such an environment. 1. Building trust and respect. The first step in creating a positive learning environment is to build trust and respect between the teacher and students. When students feel respected, they are more likely to take risks and share their ideas. For example, a teacher in a classroom in India can show respect by listening carefully to students' opinions and valuing their contributions. Example, if a student answers a question incorrectly, instead of criticizing them, the teacher can say, "That's an interesting point. Let's think about it further," which encourages the student to keep trying without fear of judgment. 2. Encouraging participation. A positive learning environment is one where all students feel comfortable participating. The teacher should encourage every student, even shy ones, to take part in discussions and activities. The teacher can use group activities to make sure everyone has a chance to share their ideas. Example, in a social studies class, the teacher might divide the class into small groups and ask each group to discuss the causes of the Indian independence movement. This gives students a chance to contribute without feeling overwhelmed by the entire class. 3. Providing clear instructions. Clear and simple instructions help students understand what is expected of them, making them feel confident and capable. It's important to explain tasks and activities in a way that is easy to understand. Example, before starting a project on the environment, the teacher can give step-by-step instructions about what students need to do, how they will research, and how to present their findings, making the task clear and manageable. 4. Encouraging positive reinforcement. Praise and encouragement help build students' confidence. A teacher should highlight students' efforts and successes, no matter how small, to motivate them. Example, if a student successfully explains a concept in biology, the teacher could say, "Great job. You explained it really well. Keep it up." This boosts the students' confidence and motivates them to participate more. 5. Creating a safe and inclusive space. Students should feel safe in the classroom to express themselves without fear of bullying or discrimination. The teacher can promote inclusivity by treating every student equally, regardless of their background or abilities. Example, a teacher can ensure that students of all cultural backgrounds feel respected and included by discussing a variety of cultural festivals or events in India, helping students appreciate diversity. Conclusion. In a positive learning environment, students feel valued, respected, and supported. This helps them stay motivated, enjoy learning, and perform well in their studies. By building trust, encouraging participation, providing clear instructions, reinforcing positive behavior, and promoting inclusivity, teachers can create a classroom where all students feel comfortable and eager to learn. I hope you understand easily each question. All the best, students, for your upcoming exam. For other subject quick revision. Important questions. Previous question papers. And syllabus. Links are available in description. Check out once. Thank you for watching. Like and share this video with your friends.